Now, Joey Patroni, you've been working the stages here all over the Governor's Comedy Club, McGuire's, all the clubs around here, Brokerage. How often do you have to deal with hecklers, or do you have any mean-spirited jokes in your act, or what do you do? Tell us a little about your story.
I don't really deal with hecklers that much. I talk over them or whatever, but once in a while, and I stop my show and ask them what. And for me, the table takes care of it, because they're stopping you. Let the guy talk, man. Leave him alone,
Oh,
so that's kind of how it,
Or the neighbor, the neighboring table.
Yeah, they'll say, "Shut up, guy," So I'll entertain the heckler for like 10 seconds, whatever, and the audience wants to hear what the hell you were saying, and they get mad at the heckler. So you kind of use the audience. That's how I do it.
Do you have any stock retorts, comebacks?
Not really. I think just by entertaining a heckler, I think you kind of make him look like an idiot after a while. Whatever just pops in my head. I don't really have any.
Because I've never been to a club where I've seen the heckler win or the crowd side with the heckler. I've never.
I usually hear "Shut up, guy."
Yeah, nobody likes the heckler.
No.
Way in the beginning,
one show like that.
In the beginning, like in the early '80s, like Long Island and on the road, it was the Wild West because people still weren't ready for another, like, a peer. It could have been the guy you went to high school with, and all of a sudden he's up there. He's a comedian. Like, that's bullshit. Because there was no line of demarcation, and it was very weird. So, and it was like, and people drinking so much, there was always heckling, and I have a zillion of the lines, but you can't use them because because they want to hear the next thing you got to say to fuck with somebody, and it's really weird, and you don't want to upset your role, right. Somebody says something, you ignore it, and they say something else, but you can't. So you got to know when to fight back and when not to. And it's pretty weird, And I mean, there were times when you had to throw somebody out, and like that is the absolute worst thing you can do to a room. But if you just have somebody that's so drunk and such an asshole. Now comedy clubs, it's a whole different world. People accept and they go in, and these people paid decent money.
Right, yeah.
A million years ago when it was $3 to get in, like, well, fuck you, The most creative thing I ever did, I had a packed house at Rascals by the Shore, and the people used to come out from the Stern Show, and they loved us. And people would come out to see me just because they loved the show. They had no idea I was going to be funny. They'd be shocked, like, holy shit, you're not bad, But they'd get loaded, and they had the time. And I was doing the show, and it was like 6 or 8 guys in a table. And they couldn't have been nicer. It couldn't have been better fans, but they were loaded, and one guy wouldn't shut up. And I don't want to get into it with them because I knew that they were fans. And I looked down, and the fucking guy was wearing a Rangers jersey. Oh. And I looked down, I said, "You! Out in the hall, 15-minute penalty." And the fucking bouncer took him outside and put him outside for 15 minutes. I said, "All right, you can let..." And he came out. He never said another one. I was like, that's the most creative.
Yeah, that's great.
That's awesome. You gave the
but he might just say, "Fuck you, I'm not leaving." And,
that's how it should be. All the clubs should do that.
A penalty box.
Penalty box for the heckler.
It's hard when you have a heckler like that. I've seen it happen to a couple people. And that, there's really nothing you can do, but, you don't want to really, because sometimes you say something, or sometimes you'll say something that's offensive, and the audience will actually, instead of just taking it, they'll get up and they'll be like, "You offended me because my so-and-so has cancer."
It's like a line that you can get to, and the audience is still on your side, as long as you still got them on your side,
But if you lose control and start cursing and all this other stuff,
right, if you get ugly, right.
Yeah,
do you feel the pressure from the audience? So, like, let's say the heckler comes in and throws a shot at you guys. Right. Do you feel pressure that that the audience wants you to fight back? And that the pressure of that, where
there's always some that do and some that don't.
Yeah. The club should take care of it because they're working.
Nowadays they do. I think more. I think
they're
they take
up there working.
In the old days, it was like, where the fuck?
Yeah.
One of the great. I was in Louisville, and I was doing really well, and there was a guy who called out a couple times, and it's a different fucking animal when you're in the South, Louisville is the South, because you're a fucking Yankee. And you're in their house, It's like there's a little more of us versus them. And this guy yelled out like 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, "Oh, am I going to attack this guy?" But the third time he said something, this woman sitting on the aisle, I could see her. She said, if we wanted to hear you, we'd have went to your house.
That's
Fucking place went nuts.
Perfect.
You couldn't write that. You couldn't fucking write. If I'm using $1 million, wanted to hear you. We'd have went to your house. That's just so creative. And I don't think she was quoting. I think she was talking. You know?
Did you respond to that, or you just go?
Like,
I
thank
fucked
you.
Awesome.
Maybe it was the one woman next to me.